Hello everyone and welcome to the Perfect 10 Premier League preview. This week we are going to be going through all the Premier League games and finding out who's going to win, how it's going to affect Manchester United and who is going to end up top of the league and undefeated still. It might be a change, there might not be a change. United obviously going to be facing off against Wolves, and I'll be covering that in a separate preview which is just about that game where we talk about all of the different permutations, the starting 11 and everything like that. So make sure to keep your eyes peeled for that, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you make sure that you get every single video as it's uploaded. But before we get into that, this video is sponsored by the Perfect 10 game, where all you've got to do is choose 10 results, not even a score, just results from this weekend's game for free, and you can win £10,000 in cash money. So I'm going to ask you, why wouldn't you do that? I've also got a private league on there, and I'm just going to be giving away prizes for people. Even if you're not getting all of the scores correct, I'm going to go with whoever gets the most points. I'm going to start giving like free shirts and stuff away, and you can join my league through the link in the description below. And like I said, mate, it's 10 grand for free. It takes 2 minutes, you could win 10 grand. You think you know your football? Come get in the mixer. Right then, let's get stuck into it then. So the first game that we're going to be talking about this weekend is going to be Burnley against Bournemouth. Now, I didn't expect it, but these are the league's two longest serving managers in Eddie Howe and Sean Dyche, which just shows you how much the turnover of Premier League managers is. Now, Burnley are struggling. Their Europa League adventure has ended, but it's also exposed the limitations of what's a very, very thin squad. And I think they're trying to play catch up. They lost to Wolves 1-0 last week, and although 1-0 on the face of it doesn't look too bad, it was a battering. It could have been 4 or 5, maybe even 6, because I think Wolves had like 30 shots on goal. So they did very well to just keep it down to 1-0. But like I said, they are proper struggling. They was completely outplayed, and what they did not want was a team in Bournemouth that has just absolutely slapped Leicester, stuck 4 past Leicester last weekend. They're coming with confidence, and I think they're going to take the points. Burnley will turn it around because Sean Dyche is too good a manager to not turn it around, but it won't be this weekend. I think it'll be tight, but I think Bournemouth are going to take the win. I'm going to say 1-0 to Bournemouth this weekend for that. The next game that we're going to talk about then is Cardiff against Manchester City, which is in Cardiff, but it's going to make no difference to the scoreline whatsoever. It will be a cricket score. Neil Warnock is ill-equipped to do anything with his Cardiff side in the Premier League, and his Cardiff side is ill-equipped to do anything in the Premier League on their own anyway. So he will be sacked at some point this season, and they will go down this season, and that isn't going to be changed anything by Manchester City turning up and putting 4 or 5 or maybe even more past them. They've got no wins this season, and they won't be getting one this weekend. Now, I hope I'm wrong, and I hope I get clipped up to death by Cardiff fans taking the piss out of me, but it ain't going to happen. Next game then is Crystal Palace. They face off against Newcastle. Newcastle are also struggling, but 4 of their 5 games have come against Tottenham, Chelsea, Manchester City and Arsenal, and I think it's understandable why they've struggled so far this season. Palace are almost entirely reliant on Wilf Zaha, but I don't think he's got the quality to be able to keep a team going purely on his own. He needs help from others in the squad. Now, I think Newcastle will start to claw points back, and I think it'll happen this week, but I'm thinking it's probably going to be a draw, and I'm thinking probably 0-0 this weekend for that game. Now, Leicester play against Huddersfield, and probably the best performance that we saw from Leicester this season was that opening fixture against United. They've been pretty poor since then, and if you're looking at betting, then I think you need to know how terrible this Huddersfield side are at scoring. Now, 5 goals in their last 15 games does not bode well for them in the slightest. They haven't scored more than 1 goal in the game, and they've only got 1 victory to show for it in their last 15. They are properly struggling, and I'm going to say Leicester win this one comfortably, 2-0, maybe even 3-0. So Liverpool have got Southampton. After their brilliant midweek performance, that's no doubt lifted them, even though there's a little bit of tactical naivety, and they was kind of lucky not to concede more or even make more of a game of it towards the end. They did get the points, they did get away with it, and they did get the win at home to PSG. So I think what's key for this is that they even managed a little bit of rotation, which will be really good for them. So I expect them to turn up, blow Saints away completely. I'm going to say a 2-0 win for Liverpool this weekend. West Ham against Chelsea. Now, all is not well at West Ham, and that could be said at any time ever, but it's relevant right now because things are not well. They're even talking about the fact that he maybe should have kept hold of David Moyes rather than getting rid of him and bringing in Pellegrini. Now, Sarri has adapted Chelsea to his style of play and his system pretty quickly and pretty impressively. Hazard is playing with freedom, looks deadly in each game, which has led to the usual overreactions and comparisons for everyone. Regardless of that, they are on form at the moment now, while Liverpool are grabbing all of the headlines. Chelsea are quietly going about it, and they've scored more than Liverpool this season, but you wouldn't believe that, would you? Even with Morata misfiring, Chelsea look absolutely lethal at the moment, and they're definitely going to be making it 6 out of 6 against West Ham. I'm going to say 3-1 Chelsea. Brighton host Spurs, and I think it's going to be a little bit more of a tougher prospect than everyone's kind of expecting it. Harry Kane's not been afforded the service that he usually gets playing for Spurs, and as such he's returning a pitiful amount of goals. Spurs are struggling. Lucas Moura has taken a lot of those chances and a lot of that ball time away from Harry Kane, and I think until Poch figures out how they're going to work together, how they're going to integrate together, he's not going to get the best out of this partnership, and with that, Spurs are going to struggle. I'm going to say this is 1-1, and I do think if you are going to stick a bet on this for a first goal scorer or something like that, Lucas Moura might be the guy to get your money on, but I think Brighton are going to have just enough, and they're going to split the points this weekend. Now, Fulham versus Watford. At the start of the season, you wouldn't have looked at this fixture and gone, oh, that's going to be a really interesting game. I can't wait to see how that lines up. But Fulham have been interesting, shall we say, and Watford definitely interesting the way they've started the season. Now, this would be a really difficult game to predict if it wasn't for the fact that these teams have faced 4 of the same 5 competition this season. So we can probably gauge how this is going to go down. Now, I think this game is going to have quite a few goals. I think there's going to be a pair of teams that absolutely go for each other, and I think it's going to be the most entertaining game of the weekend for the neutral to watch, as mental as that sounds. I'm going to go with a 3-1 Watford win. I reckon they're going to get the business done this weekend and get back on track after defeat to United last week. To round out the Premier League, then we've got Arsenal against Everton. Now, an away trip could give Everton the chance to play to their strengths, namely countering with the pace of Richarlison and Walcott, but injuries could also play a big part in this game. Everton have got a lot, and they don't really have the squad depth to deal with that. Arsenal will have been disrupted by midweek Europa League, but how much will they have been disrupted? That is the big question. We will find out, and I think we're going to see a score draw here, and I'm going for 2-2. So that's the Premier League preview section done, but as I said earlier at the top of the show, this video is sponsored by Perfect 10, and someone is going to win 10 grand, and then you're taking me out for the beers. But to do that, we have to go through this week's game. So let's have a look at all the games that we have to play this weekend then, and see if someone can win 10 grand by correctly predicting all of these scores. As I said, it's free entry, and the link is in the description below, so make sure to check it, hit my league up, and come and see if you can win prizes. Even if you don't get all 10 and win the 10 grand, I'm going to be giving away prizes just for people topping the league. So let's get into it then. Here's this week's fixtures. We have got Burnley versus Bournemouth. Now, as we said early on, definitely think this is going to be a Bournemouth win. It's going to be tight. I'm thinking something like 1-0, but we don't have to put the score. We just have to say who we think is going to be taking the gold. So I'm going to say Bournemouth win. Next up, we've got Brentford and Derby, and this one is really tough to call. I think Derby are just going to edge this one. Reading versus Hull. Now, both teams have scored and conceded the same amount of goals. They've got 9-4, 13 against, but Hull have got one more game than Reading. I'm going to go for a draw in this one. They've got Accrington Stanley against AFC Wimbledon. Accrington have just been promoted to League One, possibly wanting revenge against Wimbledon, who stopped their promotion attempt a couple of seasons ago. I'm going to say Accrington home win for this one. Blackpool versus Luton. Then 85 of Blackpool's goals have come in the second half of games so far. Now, Luton have also Luton are averaging 2.5 goals per match, and they will need to stop Blackpool from getting one of those last minute goals to get a result. There's nothing in this one. I'm going with Blackpool purely because of home advantage. Scunthorpe against Shrewsbury. Now, Scunthorpe have got an average of 3.75 goals per match compared to Shrewsbury at 1.88 goals per match, and there's only one space in between them in the league. Shrewsbury's ability to make it tighter, I think, gives them the edge in this one, and I'm going to say away win. Morecambe against Macclesfield. Morecambe have only scored 3 goals this season, while Macclesfield have scored 6. Not that means too much, but the teams are right next to each other on the edge of the relegation zone. I'm going to say away win because goals win games. Colchester against Oldham. Now, this game's got the potential to push either team up into second place in League 2. Oldham are 6th on 14, Colchester 4th on 15. Obviously, results dependent elsewhere, but I'm going for a draw. Tranmere versus Newport. Now, Newport have conceded nearly twice as many goals as Tranmere, but they remain in third place. I'm going to say home win for this one. Yeovil versus Swindon, and Swindon have conceded 14 goals compared to Yeovil's 3 goals this season. It's likely that Yeovil's defence is going to be key to their current respectable position, which is 5th, and I'm going to say a home win for that mean defence. So there you go, that is my predictions for this week. There was loads of draws in last week, so I only got 4 correct, but that's what I'm going for this week. How did you get on last week? Let me know in the comments. If you're having a go this week, make sure to hit the link in the description. Come and join my league. I'm going to be giving away shirts and stuff just for whoever tops my league, so you can even get a couple right as long as you're picking them up every single week. At the end of each month, I'm going to start giving away some prizes, so come and join it. You can have the chance to win 10 grand and you can win some prizes even if you don't bag the 10 grand. So it's free to enter. Come and do it. There's nothing less to say. Just do it. Just stop messing around. Hit the link and I'll see you in the next one. Laters.